You've got ideas, you've got ambition, you've got no time, or so you think. I'm Marissa Lonick, and I help busy moms with big dreams and no time. Join me each week as I dive into time management strategies, goal setting and achieving framework, and inspiring guests who are juggling mom life, work life, fill in the blank life. Dreams don't work unless you do, and just because you're a mom doesn't mean you can't still make it happen, whatever it means to you. Welcome to the Mama Work It podcast. Hey, mamas. Welcome back to another episode of the Mama Work It podcast. I am so excited to introduce you to our guest today, Jill Salzman. If you are a mompreneur or thinking of becoming one, you are going to want to tune in to today's episode. Jill is the founder of Founding Moms, the #1 platform that helps mom entrepreneurs build better businesses. She offers one-on-one business coaching in addition to sanity sessions. I love it. I mean, what entrepreneur doesn't need a sanity check-in every now and then? I know I definitely do. So, in addition, she's got live and recorded webinars and in person events all over the world. Jill focuses on community and connection in the often very lonely entrepreneurial world for moms. I cannot wait to dive in and learn more about this topic, Jill. And I know our listeners are likely feeling the same. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me. I think a lot of people need to hear this stuff, and there's never enough ear holes for me.
Yes. All right. Well, first things first, tell us your story, how you got started with Founding Moms. I want to know your background.
For sure. I started the whole thing by accident. I did not intend to launch a global community at all. I was running two completely unrelated businesses. I used to manage bands. I'd send them out on tour and do their booking and their publicity. And then I launched a baby jewelry business. And while those are both wildly unrelated, one was service based, one was product based, I was pregnant with my second kiddo and kind of losing my mind and thought, how do you do all of this with two little kids in a tiny home office? So I launched a meetup that was supposed to be very self serving. It was supposed to be, come and tell me, how are you doing marketing? How are you doing sales with a screaming baby in the background, or, only 2 hours of nap time? And I was shocked when so many women showed up to the first meeting. So we decided to do it every month. And this was about a decade ago. We decided to meet up monthly. The group started growing. And about 6 months in, I realized this is bigger than anything I'd ever thought about before. So I started launching meetup after meetup after meetup. And here we are a decade later. We have not only founding exchanges, which is what we call our masterminds in cities all around the world, but we have an online community full of resources for anybody who's trying to build a business and raise a family at the same time.
Amazing. I mean, you felt the problem, you reached out for support, and you realized everybody had this problem pretty much.
I still kind of can't believe how many people are in the same boat, because I don't know if you remember 10 years ago, but no one was talking about this. Every woman who had a business who was public facing didn't seem to have any kids, and every mom I knew was in a playground not building a business. So it was very hard to find people like me, and we're everywhere. It's so wonderful.
Yes.
We're everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm curious, have you always been an entrepreneur?
Since the lemonade stand at 5, yes. I started my first company, I think, in the ninth grade. Yes, I always have. I was a DJ in the ninth grade. I sold a fanzine in local stores by the 12th grade. I always loved starting my own stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, for someone listening who's maybe not currently running their own business, but
Mm.
thinking of moving in this direction, what advice would you give them?
I would highly recommend that they find a group of people, a community. If they don't know where to look, they can go to Facebook groups or go to meetup.com. Find people who are doing it and talk to them, because they're going to knock out of your head all of the horrible self-talk that I find a lot of women doing. I don't have time. My partner won't allow it. I don't want to let my kids down. All of that negative self-talk is extremely common and something you can't really kick on your own. So for sure you have to go and talk to people, otherwise you're just not going to do it as quickly, and then just do it. What are you waiting for? Just dive in.
Yeah.
Just start. Yeah. I love Nike for that reason.
It's so easy to just talk yourself out of things, but if you have someone else giving you a reality check on the other side
Yeah.
of your brain, right? That's exactly what you need sometimes.
Absolutely. It's really, really hard to say, I'm gonna go ahead and do it without knowing that there are other people who've done it and probably have done it in a way worse way than you're planning to. People who have failed over and over again and are still doing it. All kinds are out there, but you don't really know it and you kind of easily talk yourself down. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Now, what about the mamas in the early stages of entrepreneurship? Like before they're seeing a real return, but they're working so hard, likely
Mm.
doing all the things. What are some tips for these mamas from you?
It's gonna sound extremely obvious when I say it, but if you are working endless hours, feeling very overworked and underpaid, my number one go to rule is raise your prices because you're probably undervaluing everything you're doing. You're probably not charging enough. And when I recommend this, I usually hear a lot of, but I'm not there yet. I'm not ready. I haven't worked long enough. It's going to pop at some point in the future. And I laugh and then I say, well, you're the only person in charge of your pricing, first of all. Second of all, if it ends up sending people away once you raise your prices, great, because you're now charging twice or three times as much and you don't need as many customers and clients. So it's a huge problem we have as women, unfortunately. And this could become a whole different conversation, Marissa. But, culturally, we are all taught that we need to work you know, forever and really not charge very much because we don't want to offend people. We want to make sure they can pay for it, et cetera, et cetera. And it's not true. It's easy. Just double it, triple it, quadruple your numbers, you know?
No, I agree with that. And I do think women undervalue themselves a lot. We struggle with that confidence. We struggle with feeling like what we're delivering is worth it. We struggle with our own worthiness. So
Oh, sure.
so that is translating into these businesses, which is unfortunate. So I love it. It's just so simple, guys. Raise your damn prices. That's it.
Amen. Do it. Do it. It's so easy to do and so scary to do. But again, if we go back to what we were talking about before, if you find people who are already doing it, it becomes that much easier to charge more, work less. And I tell you this as somebody who, in the early days of running my first company, my first real company, I worked at least 12 hours a day at a standing desk, charging almost nothing for my services, and worked to the bone and kept thinking it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And it never arrived, until someone else in a community said to me, yeah, that's because you don't charge enough. I said, "Oh, it's that simple." Okay. And now I work less hours every week. I make more money. It's simple math, and I'm not good at math, but I'm passing it on to you.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you've been in this mompreneur community for a long time now. So I'm curious, what is the biggest struggle you hear from mompreneurs? Like what do you hear most often and why do you think a community like Founding Moms can help in that situation?
The struggle is pretty real across the board. I have found it to be in every city in this country. I've found it to be in lots of cities in other countries where we have founding exchanges. It's actually always one of two areas. There's either a lot of fear that you're going to fail or be let down or let other people down, or you have a lot of guilt that you want to do this while you're supposed to be raising your kids and helicopter over them and be with them and present 24/7 as though your life doesn't matter anymore and the children run the show. And I obviously am revealing a bit about my thoughts of parenting, but I don't believe in giving up what you do and what you love and what you're passionate about for the sake of being the greatest mom in the world, because that's not good momming. And I believe that if you can find something you're really good at doing or you love and you do it really well, you're teaching your kids what a happy adult looks like. You're teaching them really good stuff that we all forget because society tells us, well, no, you got to be at home and available and ready at all times, 24/7, you know? So I'm busy fighting the fight on that one.
Yeah. Oh, so many truth bombs in that. And I feel like I'm on the other side of that, but I've been
Mm.
where you're talking. And I think a lot of moms have been there and have surpassed it, or are still there now fighting it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it is hard. It is a hard fight.
It's a really hard fight. I would love to know, where were you with that? And how did you get over that hump?
So I'm going to tell you, this doesn't have to do with my entrepreneurial journey to a degree, but it has to do with my career development. So
Mm,
when I was offered a pretty substantial job promotion and to move my family cross country and be in an office 4 days a week versus working more from home in a very new and uncomfortable, like out of my comfort zone
mm,
position, I almost didn't take it because of that
mm.
fear and that guilt, right? I was
Huh,
really struggling with that because I thought, oh, I'm not going to be able to spend as much quantity of time with my kids. I'm
right.
not going to be able to give enough to my relationship or my kids or my everything, right? I was worried about it, but I did end up taking it, and it was the best decision I ever made. I mean, it
Fantastic.
was so worth it, right? You make it work. You make what's important
Mhm.
to you work. And I wholeheartedly agree with your example about parenting by setting example. The kids are
Yes.
watching everything you do. They're watching everything you do. So if you're doing something you don't like, if you're resentful of not doing something, not
Mm,
taking an opportunity, it's showing in your parenting, guys. It's
right.
showing even if you're spending 24/7 with those kids. So,
Yes.
in my opinion, it's quality over quantity when it comes to time. And you have to do that work on yourself. You have to fulfill your goals, your dreams, if you're going to be able to be the best parent you want to be. And everybody wants to be the
Mhm.
best parent out there. I mean, that's our
Of
top
course. Of
top
course.
role in life. So, all right, well, Jill, you are pretty damn successful. You're in the media, you're running events all over the world, you're a published author, you've got this unbelievable community. I mean,
Thank you.
I want to know so bad, what are three small habits you'd recommend changing or adopting to run your business like a badass? I want to hear it directly from the badass herself.
I have to laugh really hard because it's years and years and years of work and accolades that all put together in one little paragraph does sound impressive, but it's a lot of work. Uh, I want to suggest first and foremost, well, let me just overarchingly say it's the tiny things that end up making the biggest difference that no one told me at the beginning. Number one to me is get a handle on your schedule, which is so hard to do. I'm 15 years into entrepreneurship, and a lot of people are owned by their schedule. And we wake up and oh, what do I have today? I don't know. Let me let an electronic calendar tell me what I'm doing with my life. So I have taken to blocking out lots of time, whether it's for me, whether it's for whatever it is. I do lots of blocking on my calendar so I make sure not to overschedule myself and forget to have bathroom breaks, forget to eat. All of that's very dangerous, and I have learned that the hard way. So, scheduling is of the utmost importance. I think my next very practical tip is really, you know what, I have drunk the Kool-Aid of my own business. I really do think that if you go and you talk to people and you go and hang out with other people who have been there, done that, even if you've been there and done that for a very long time, everyone knows something that you don't. Everybody also knows somebody that you don't, but they all know something you don't, and there's always something you can learn from people where it revives you and inspires you to go and do and be in a better way that day. I really am such a connector, and to anybody listening who's not an extrovert, you can do this too in your own way. You can do this online, you can do this one-on-one. This doesn't mean go and suddenly become an extrovert in 2 seconds. My final hot tip is to know that if anybody is in entrepreneurship, wants to start a business, is thinking about it at all, you have to know that it takes a lot of patience and a lot of persistence. And we see this in memes online all the time on social media. But coming from somebody who's been doing this a long time, I can tell you, I have no patience. But I have had to learn how to wait it out for things to happen and for people to keep up with me and for things to come to fruition. I wished somebody had knocked over my head at the beginning of it all. Hey, this is going to take a long time. This is going to take a lot of work, but pace, be persistent, and never lose hope because that's very silly to do and there's no point. So I'm still here. I am living proof of the fact
Yes.
that, it takes a lot of patience. Very annoying.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that I like to compare entrepreneurship sometimes to like a weight loss plan in a way.
Mm.
Like you could starve yourself for a weekend
Yeah.
and probably lose 5 pounds to fit into that outfit, right?
Yeah.
You could do it. You're going to gain it back in one meal, probably. And it's not going to last,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
So people get those lucky breaks, absolutely. But that's not what keeps your business going long
No.
term. The patience, the waiting, like the really working small steps every day toward these bigger things, right? Sometimes it's years, you guys. If you are passionate about this, keep
Yeah.
going. It will pay off,
Yeah.
right? That passion is what's going to fuel your business to grow. People are going to see that.
I do wanna throw in, it's really what you're saying is true, and hearing it back from you, I'm realizing that we could tell people this same idea all the time, but I wanna also throw in how hard it is to do. It's a really hard thing to have the patience day in and day out, and honestly, the only way I have found that anything scoops me up from the depths of, "Well, this is never gonna work. It's not happening. I can't make that money," is truly reaching out to somebody and saying, "Hey, I need help. I need to know that this is not ridiculous." And every single time it does wonders, but even just reaching out is hard, you know? This is not
It
easy
is, and
stuff.
it's hard for moms to ask for help, right? We can do
For
it all.
sure.
That's what society's told us.
Yeah.
So, it is really hard. I get it, moms. But what Jill's saying is
Yeah.
150% true. You are going to feel that if you have not already, that roller coaster of emotion when you are on the entrepreneurial journey,
Yes.
and it sounds like it doesn't end. Jill, you've been in this world longer than I have. It sounds like it doesn't end.
It doesn't, but you know what? To some degree, I wonder if it did end and I finally felt like I have a perfect handle on everything, would that be interesting and would I want to stay? I don't think so. Because why am I in this? It's not, obviously, I'd love to make millions of dollars, but it's not for the millions of bucks for me. It's really, I love more than anything to connect people. I love more than anything to be a mouthpiece for mom entrepreneurs everywhere and make sure everybody knows, our brains did not come out with the babies. Like, we're sassy, we're savvy, we know things, we can build. I love the ups and downs. That doesn't mean I don't get stuck in the downs, but I don't believe I would be doing entrepreneurial things if at the end of the day there wasn't, and now I'm fine. Because you can go and get a corporate job for that, you know? Like, not interesting.
I love it. All right. Well, listen, I always like to
Yeah.
ask my guests before they come on the show what their non negotiables are when it comes to managing their time. And I felt it totally necessary to share and dig into your answer a little more because it feels like one of the most powerful ones I've heard in a while. So let me remind you what
Mm,
your answer was. It was taking three
okay.
day tech breaks. Te-
Oh,
Tell
that's
us more
right.
about this.
You know what's fun about this is I'm talking to you right after I just took one. I try to do a tech break once a quarter for 3 or 4 days, which means I don't have to go anywhere. I love going somewhere, but if I don't, I don't open my laptop. I shut off all notifications on the phone. People start to panic as I say this. Like, well, what if something happens in your business? It takes me about realistically 2 weeks to set up going away on a tech break. You sort of like assigning things to people so that if something falls through the cracks, it's handled. But I was challenged to do this about 3 or 4 years ago, and I laughed when I heard about it and thought, like, what are you crazy? That's not possible. And the first time I did it, in the middle, like, I don't know, 48 hours in, I was so relaxed and aware of things I hadn't been aware of in years, like books and thinking, just regular thoughts that are not business related, that coming out of it was extremely hard. Like, I don't ever want to go back to work. I don't ever want to do anything again except sit here. It's, for those, for anybody listening who's into mindfulness, meditation, self love, self care, all of that woo woo stuff is true.
It is.
It really helps. And I am not one of those folks usually, but I have come to realize that if I don't do those, I get swept up in really bad knots. Like, I end up focusing on something very, very minor, making it really major, and going on and on about it to my team for weeks and weeks and weeks as though it's the biggest problem in the world. I have to step away to go, oh, that's right. That's not a big deal. Perspective. I guess I'll sum it up with the word perspective. So it's something I love and I try to practice. I wish I could do it once a month, but I'm not there yet. I'm still working on
Yeah. I love it. You have like
it.
these mini eat, pray, love retreats. So fun.
Well, without all of the magic that was in that book and without all the Italian food, yes.
All right. Oh, it sounds like really hard to do, but really worth it. So I like what you're saying.
Bingo, you
Yeah.
nailed it. Yeah, and if you haven't done one, I recommend you try it, and if you're like, 3 days, just try it for 24 hours. It seems impossible, and then on the other side of it, you're like, "Oh, the world went on without me, nobody died, it's okay, I'm gonna do this more."
Yeah. Oh, such a great tip. Okay. Well, I have one final question before we enter our lightning round, but here we go. What lessons have you learned that you would share with your younger entrepreneurial self? I want to know.
Well, if I could circle back to that patience thing, I would knock it over my head 1,000 times. If I was talking to my younger self, I would probably, most important, I would probably make sure that my younger self knew not to reinvent the wheel. Meaning, I'm one of those folks who likes to start from scratch, and no matter how many other people are experts in the thing, I like to figure it out for myself, or I didn't like to ask for help. That's why I'm such a touter of that now. Because I didn't want to ask anybody, even though somebody knew exactly how to do the thing. Oh, I don't want to bother them. Let me figure it out on my own. I spent a lot of years coming up with lists and ideas and, oh my gosh, so much that was already out there that I wished I had taken advantage of or known or asked about. So that's what I would make sure my younger self does, because I think I'd be much further along than I am even now,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. It's great advice. Okay,
Yeah.
Jill, are you ready for the lightning round?
Probably not. Hit
These
me
are
up.
just fun. Yeah, these are just fun questions so our listeners can get to know you a little bit better. Nothing scary. It sounds like nothing scares you though. Come on.
It depends. Very few things do, but we're probably going to explore that together right now.
Okay, let's do it. All right. Jill, what book are you reading right now?
Oh, I can answer that one. I am. Oh man, if I could remember the title exactly, it's a long one. It's called "This Is Your Brain on Food,"
Hmm.
and it's by a doc. She's a psychologist and a nutritionist, and I am a huge health food junkie. Uh, I don't look like it, but I love
You do.
studying. No, I love studying what makes us feel better, medicine that can heal, all of that. I'm a big believer that food is medicine. So this is one of the newest books. It's by a Dr. Naidu. I think that's how you pronounce it. Um, and it's chock full of good info.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
What is one app you cannot live without?
Slack, 100% Slack. I love it. People argue about it. I like, not unlike taking tech breaks, I like that it's a break from email. I can keep my team's communications in one place. And if I don't want to look at it, I don't look at it, and then I don't have to do anything.
Yeah. Well, clearly you can live without it because you take the tech breaks, but good to know.
Correct.
Good to know that's your
We can live
most
without
important.
it.
Okay.
Yes. And can I throw in an extra one that's a fun one?
Yes, please.
There's an app out there, not the video app, but there's another app called Marco Polo. Not the one you're
Yes.
thinking of where you video communicate. It's a very funny app. If you drop your phone underneath the couch cushion and Marco Polo is on your phone, you shout Marco and the phone shouts Polo back to you so that you can find your phone.
No way.
Amazing. Yeah. If you drop your phone anywhere, you'll be able to find it except the toilet. Yeah.
What if it's in your back pocket, like often happens to me, and I have no idea where it
Whoa.
is?
You really need it then. Yeah. You just,
Then my
Marco,
booty's gonna shout polo back
just
to
send it
me.
to different voices and be in the grocery store and just pretend you're calling Marco and somebody will hear Polo. Yeah. It's
That's
fantastic.
awesome. Oh, I love it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
If you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be? Calories don't count.
Chocolate. I mean, no brainer. You know what's
Yeah.
funny? I almost said tuna fish, but chocolate. I love tuna, but chocolate.
But then you corrected yourself.
Well, you said calories don't matter, and I thought it's such a boring answer, but chocolate doesn't. I mean, duh. Yeah.
Yes.
Not any form though. It needs to be in a milkshake. It needs to be in a cupcake. Um, maybe a bar, but I'm not into that as much.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 What's your guilty pleasure TV show?
Oh, which isn't? You're asking me at a time where I've just discovered Ted Lasso, which is on
Ooh.
Apple Plus right now. It's Jason Sudeikis from SNL has his own show. It is light and funny and exactly what we all need during a pandemic. It's a fantastic show. So highly recommend it if you need something to take your mind off of other things.
Yeah, sounds like it. All right.
Mhm.
What is your go to get shit done song?
Is it sad that my answer is It's Raining Men? Do you know what I mean? I freaking love that song. It's if you put it on, how can you not move? You know, and
Amazing.
things. Yeah, it's raining
Yeah.
men. It's also, a life dream. So it's a twofer.
Yes. Oh my God. Well, this has
Yeah.
been such a fun chat, Jill. I have so enjoyed this conversation. Before we wrap up, tell everybody where they can find you, please.
Oh, I'd love that. I almost forgot. You can go to foundingmoms.com. Lots of things are there. You'll see pretty much everything I talked about. You can also find me anywhere online. I'm at Founding Mom, or as a company, we are at Founding Moms. Anywhere on the socials. Literally pick a social site. We're probably there.
Yeah. And Jill, can I plug your little promo here real
I'd
quick?
love that. Yes,
Yes.
please.
Jill is giving away a free month to her amazing community. So check out the show notes, check out the social posts. I'm going to give it all away, this promo, and check out her community, guys. It is
Come in and hang out.
amazing.
You're going to love everybody in the community, and we're going to help you actually build your business. Yeah. Looking forward to
Yeah.
seeing everybody. Yeah.
Good. Thank you so much, Jill.
For sure. Thanks for having me.
You've been listening to the Mama Work It podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode and would love if you could take a quick minute to leave me a review on whichever platform you're listening from, and maybe even send a note to a fellow mama friend recommending it. Reviews and recs help this podcast grow and reach more like-minded, awesome moms. And if you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click that button so we can stay in touch, girl. By the way, if you haven't checked out the Mama Work It website, please do. There are lots of free resources and great articles there that can help you with the juggle of work life, mom life, wife life, fill in the blank life. So head on over. Thanks again for being part of the tribe. I'll see you soon, but in the meantime, keep on working it, mama.